Chris, Robert, it's a pleasure to meet you both. How are you today?
Hey, doing
Good,
great.
good. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm very well. Thanks for asking. And look, I love this goddamn movie. It was so much fun. So I really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate you taking the time to chat to it today. So I'm going to jump into it. Look, both of you have done projects in the past where the violence or the brutality of the violence sort of emphasizes the drama, but we've kind of flipped the script here, and the brutality emphasizes, well, it never loses brutality, despite how funny it is. So, what's the key to making bloody, brutal violence funny?
Going way over the top. I think sometimes, like really, just like really pushing it so that it becomes, almost like a cartoon. You have a lot of fun with it. I think some of it's in that, in pushing it and going for it. If Renfield's ripping off a guy's arms and then he's beating that guy up and now he's using him as spears. That's just kind of keeps upping the ante. I think the other thing is that and the amount of blood and everything else. But the other thing is probably also the way we used color. I think that having one thing. I think having the blood be kind of a very cartoonish shade of red no longer makes you feel like you're really it's certainly not a documentary. That's for sure. We're not watching surgical films. It's a very cartoonish level of blood, cartoonish color of blood. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a certain level in violence where it's like horrific, disturbing, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and then it crosses over into the funny zone. And I think that's something that we were able to accomplish very well on this movie.
Outside of the blood and the gore, the actual set pieces are so thrilling and exciting. But I love the little nuances in those scenes that really make the big moment. And one of them that stuck out to me was when Renfield throws the chloroform cloth around him, and Chris, you have the camera track him around. So I'm intrigued into knowing, was that actually part of the script? Was that moment in the script, or is that something you kind of figure out when you're doing the choreography for the fight scenes?
That's something that Chris Brewster, when Chris Brewster and I was the stunt coordinator and one of the second unit directors, when we sat down to talk about these scenes in our, sort of our initial meetings, I said, obviously I want these, I'd work with Chris on one of the fight scenes in Tomorrow War at the very end of the movie when Pratt and J.K. Simmons are fighting the alien on a glacier. And I knew that he could do brutal, and I knew that he could do really complicated fight stuff. And so on this movie, I said, hey, I still want it to be brutal, still want it to feel like a good, grounded, cool fight scene, but there has to be moments where there is humor. There has to be moments where we show that Renfield is fast or is clever, and in the way that he does things. So there's a charm to it. We studied a lot of the Jackie Chan stuff because there's always moments of using a prop to go do something and being kind of light and comic with the movie. So that was something that was a touchstone for us. And so that moment when Renfield is using he's sort of chloroforming one guy and then throwing that thing up and then turning out, that's literally taken from Chris's stunt viz, where he did a beat that was just like that. And I love that so much that I had to figure out a way for us to be able to do it for that and for that moment in the scene. And yeah, that was wonderful. And it just creates a little bit of it just makes Renfield, his character starts to come out in the fight, which is a key to a good fight scene.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. And Robert, for you, I'm always intrigued by the importance of unique characters, but how the process of writing them as well. And as someone who writes reviews, that's in my distinct, unique voice, but you create characters who have to have all separate, unique voices. What is the process like in trying to create or bring characters to life who may have vastly different opinions and voices to you, and then bringing that process onto the page?
I think it's just trying to find the real thing that's at the core of the character, whether it's inspiration of someone or some aspect of yourself that you're kind of honing in on to kind of turn that into a different kind of character. I think for this project in particular, inspiration of Bram Stoker's original work, and the things that have been done with these characters over the many, many decades. There's so many people that have kind of added to the mythos of Dracula along the way that you can kind of, come to the buffet and just kind of pick and choose, like, oh, I like this part, I like this part, I like this part. And it, it just gives you a rich tapestry to draw from, and it just makes building these characters, I don't want to use the word easy, but I'll say easy.
Fair enough. Well, guys, I'm getting the wrap now. I just wanted to say, Robert, I'm so excited for Invincible to come back. And Tomorrow War, Chris, is one of my favorite movies of 2021. So I really appreciate you both taking the time to chat to me today. And I hope you both enjoy the rest of the junket. I hope we talk again soon.
Yeah,
All right.
take care. Thank you.
Good talking to you.
Thanks, guys.